for Wednesday, November 3rd. Tonight on the show, one more episode of Dynamite before Full Gear. We are gearing up. Miro versus Bryan Danielson is official. Jon Moxley out of the pay-per-view. He's gone to Rehab, and Andrade beats Cody tonight on Dynamite. Let's get Johnny North in here. Let's do this thing. Yes. Yes. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. I don't know what you thought, but I thought tonight overall it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, it was good. I like Dynamite tonight. Been getting some good wrestling this week. Raw was actually very good this week. I don't know if you saw Raw this week, but it was like good. Strangely good. A lot of good wrestling matches tonight. Dynamite. I got no problem with the show. I thought it was fantastic. Great wrestling this week.
I saw the opening match for Raw. I thought the match was all right. I wasn't keen on the result, but that's what they decided to do. Tonight, though, I thought the results, you kind of could tell what was going to happen, but that didn't really matter too much. Like, I thought you still saw some good wrestling. I guess the Cody Andrade match was kind of, you're not 100% sure about that. You kind of needed interference because that seemed like it was a stalemate. So, but besides that, you kind of figure what was going to happen. But still some good matches.
Yeah, I thought the show was very good tonight. Did you not see Damian Priest and T-Bar on Raw, the no DQ match? Tremendous.
No, Raw's too long. Like,
it's good.
After 1 hour, it's bedtime.
Yeah, but that match was good. That match I would go back and check out. I think you'd enjoy that. It was really good. Like, damn, you know? Very good. Anyways, tonight we saw some good stuff. I liked a lot of what we saw tonight. They give Johnny Hungy a promo in the ring with Tony Schiavone, just Hungy getting interviewed there. I thought CM Punk's promo was very good. I thought we had some good matches. The Miro and Orange Cassidy match. It did feel like Miro was going to win. Orange Cassidy versus Bryan Danielson didn't seem like the match to make for the pay-per-view. Miro winning in the main event, beating Orange Cassidy, hitting that game-over submission, making him tap out, and advancing to the finals of the AEW title shot eliminator tournament thing. It's Miro versus Bryan Danielson in the finals of the tournament for a title shot against whoever is champion, be it Hangman or Kenny, after Full Gear. Let's start with the main event. What did you think of Miro and Orange Cassidy? It was not my match of the night, but I thought it was solid.
It was what it was. I thought it was longer than I expected it to be. Like, I saw there was like 10 minutes left and the main event started. I'm like, well, this seems like it's going to be a squash. It was a little bit longer than a squash match, but it was never really in doubt that Miro was going to win. If anything, he should have won in quicker fashion, in my opinion, but whatever. It's the same result, and you got the whole stare down with Bryan Danielson at the end. That's what you really needed. That's it. That's the way to end the show.
Yeah, you got what you needed there with the Miro and Danielson face-off. I thought the match was all right. It was pretty short, though, John. I mean, they started at, what, 9:50? Like, they started it pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't give the main event a ton of time. I thought it was all right. I like the Orange Cassidy dive there that he did on Miro, where they went through the table. That was pretty cool. That was nice, you know. Decent, fine.
It was all right. Again, I thought they gave him too much in that match. You want Miro to look super strong going in the match against Bryan Danielson, but I understand they like Orange and they want to give him something, but whatever. We're going down that path anyways, Miro and Bryan Danielson. It's going to happen, so that's what we wanted. That's what we got.
Is it what we wanted? I thought it was Jon Moxley.
When you think about it. This is much better, in my opinion. Like, it sucks what happened to Moxley, but to me, like, that's a better match to watch. I remember seeing that match in WWE, but it happened before, and it was actually a pretty good match. So to see it on pay-per-view, I think that could be really good.
Yeah, for a title shot on the line. I just feel that Miro versus Bryan is a little less of a marquee match for AEW than Moxley versus Bryan. Miro's a former TNT champion. Moxley's a former AEW world champion. And I think Moxley, the way he's booked, especially as a babyface character, or a guy who could turn heel easily against a Hangman Page or somebody like that, I think you see Moxley winning the match more than Miro. I think most people would pick Bryan to win because of the momentum he has and everything, his debut, and he hasn't lost, and it just seems like a title shot is around the corner for him because he's so good, and why not? But I do think that Moxley is a more convincing opponent, a more believable guy to possibly beat Bryan than Miro at this point. The way Miro has been booked, it's not really believable, especially the Miro heel character. Like, what? He's going to face Kenny? And even Miro Hangman, he's not really a credible threat. He's not a credible threat to Kenny, to Hangman, or to Bryan Danielson at this point. Whereas Moxley, credible, could beat Kenny, could beat Hangman, could beat Bryan. You know what I mean? Moxley's more of a main eventer in AEW than Miro is. That's why I think the match is a step down. We'll talk about Jon Moxley and everything going on with him. He's gone to rehab. I think he's dealing with some addiction issues. I didn't catch exactly what it was for. Was it alcohol?
I don't know if it's exactly just alcohol. I think alcohol was involved. There might be more to it than just that, but I guess he just needs to step away for now, and he realizes, I think, just using too much to help him get by, and he needs to stop that.
Yeah, well, I heard him on Jericho's podcast, which was released today, but it was recorded before the news of the rehab broke, and Moxley's talking about pounding beers on that show. He talks about hanging out with wrestlers and just doing cocaine and stuff like that, so I don't know. He didn't actually outright say that he does cocaine, but he did say that he was pounding beers and drinking a lot and kind of going crazy while writing his book, and his wife kind of came into the room like, what are you doing? Are you okay in here? And he was just getting into the zone of writing his book, and the guy obviously's got some things that he has to deal with, and I wish him all the best. I hope that he can get everything resolved and he can come back for his young child, for his wife, for his family. So I wish Moxley all the best. It's just an unfortunate timing for AEW for Moxley to step out here, because I feel like he would have been a much more credible threat to Bryan Danielson than Miro. I think the match would have been a little bit more interesting. Miro versus Bryan just feels like a foregone conclusion. Doesn't feel like a pay-per-view match. It's Bryan Danielson's what? Is this his first pay-per-view match for AEW? Was he at the last one?
Yeah, because he showed up.
He
at the last
debuted at the last one. Yeah, this is his first pay-per-view match in AEW. I don't know. You're wrestling the guy who's a replacement in the tournament who just lost the TNT title. He's not that believable. I agree. I think the match will be great. I love Miro. I think he's great. Just the way he's been booked, it kind of. It's not as interesting as the Moxley match would have been.
Well, you're kind of stuck when you put in a situation like this where you just have to put a replacement. I think he's a good replacement. And again, I look forward to this match more than I was looking forward to the Moxley match. Maybe you'd wonder more about who would win or lose, but in terms of styles, I think this is a better style match for Bryan. I think he works better when he wrestles like a monster-like character. Seeing Bryan fight from with under, it's usually him at his best when that happens.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat asking you, Johnny, has AJ picked the Saint Johnny gimmick to you? I don't know what the hell that means.
Well, I think it's something you guys talked about on the watch-along, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't know.
I think that's one of the things AJ brought up, I think. And AJ's brought that up for years, actually. And it's like, well, why do that gimmick when I pretty much do that when you guys watch it, So, on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm doing that anyways. So.
I tune AJ out. I don't even know what AJ's talking about. Shout out to Doug. Thanks for the super chat, Doug. Shout out to Angelo Contagonis on the chat. Shout out to all the members. Bob Cote, seeing you as well. Regular Bob. Not a member yet, Bob, but Angelo, Doug Hepburn. These guys are members supporting the team. Go to join.ringsidereport.net. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net, support the team, like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. When I heard the Moxley news, I was a little bit surprised, a little, sad for Moxley and, his young family that he's got. It's difficult, and I'm sure he wants to be the best possible guy that he can be. And if he's got substance abuse issues, he's going to have to go and deal with that. I also thought, man, it's a good thing Jon Moxley isn't feuding with MJF right now, because MJF, imagine if the Moxley rehab news broke and then MJF had to come cut a promo tonight on TV. Would have been vicious. Also, I thought, man, if this was Shawn Michaels, he'd be going to rehab to avoid jobbing to Brett or, Bryan Danielson type of thing, But I don't think that's what this is. I'm not saying that, Jon Moxley lost his smile and he's pulling a Shawn Michaels to avoid losing to Bryan Danielson, even though I think he probably was going to lose to Bryan Danielson at the pay-per-view. I think, the timing of this is just, it is what it is. It's just when he had to go and take care of himself. I was also thinking he has a book coming out, right? He's doing all sorts of book promotion. If I were Jon Moxley, I would go to rehab just to avoid all that extra promotion, all those interviews and all that extra work, That would be what like Larry David would do. I could see that, a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Larry David, he writes a book, and he's got to go he doesn't realize he's got to go do all these interviews and book promotion. He decides, I'll just go to rehab instead. Gets promotion out of that because people talk about the rehab, It's good. It's a smart business move. I'm not saying that I think Jon Moxley's doing that. I just think it would be a funny episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm if Larry faked rehab to avoid doing book promotion. Just when I heard that Moxley, was going to rehab and he also has a book that just came out, I was like, oh, maybe he's going to rehab to avoid the book promotion, because that's what I would do. But I don't think he's doing that. I think he would gladly do the promotion and, make money off of his book. He's obviously got some sort of issues that he's got to work out. And he's probably burnt out as well. Like, the guy went from that crazy WWE schedule that seemed to wear him out and wear him down, and he didn't really take a break. He jumped right into AEW and New Japan and all the things that he's been doing. He's been very busy, not to mention he just had, a child, and he's on no sleep. Like, it's difficult. So, I feel for him, man. I hope he's all right. I hope he can beat whatever he needs to beat, conquer his demons, and come back better than ever. I really do. So, wishing him all the best. But if Shawn Michaels says he's going to rehab, don't believe him. If Shawn Michaels says he's hurt, you don't believe him. That's the overall lesson, John, as you know.
Well, I don't doubt that Shawn was hurt. You saw all the bumps that he was taking.
There's no
question he was hurt.
The knee injury was bullshit, John. He didn't want a job to Brett. The knee injury was bullshit. Nobody believed that knee injury. When he lost his smile, it's bullshit.
Again, there's a difference between being hurt and, seriously hurt, right?
Yeah.
I don't doubt that Shawn was hurting because, you're wrestling. You're probably hurt no matter what. But, to drop the title like that, Shawn doing that was probably just, an excuse. But
that's right.
With Moxley, the fact that he was doing, AEW, the fact that he was starting to do that, deathmatch kind of wrestling again, that probably wasn't too good for his body.
Yeah.
It was probably rough on him a lot. So
need something to numb
it's
that
good
pain.
Well, it's just good that he realized, and that's probably the hardest part, is to realize when you have to step back. Because a lot of people just keep pushing themselves until it's too late. So it's good that he just realized, I got to stop now. That's the hardest part. And great that he did that.
Yeah, it's tough to step away, especially when you've got all this stuff going for you, like the book and a pay-per-view match and a big wrestling career and everything that's going on in your life. It's hard to step away and say, okay, I need some help. But obviously things came to a head. And he realized, look, I don't want to be one of these wrestling tragedies. We don't want Dark Side of the Ring Jon Moxley. And we've seen way too many guys with addiction issues not address it, not go to rehab, not deal with the issues. And unfortunately, they pass away. So it's very good. I commend Jon Moxley for doing what he's doing and seeking help. Like CM Punk said, if you are looking for help, if you think you need help, ask for it. Maybe the toughest thing you have to do, but you should go ahead and do it. CM Punk cut a promo, talked about Moxley, got them to chant his name, said how proud he was of John Moxley. Then he started talking about Eddie Kingston. Says Eddie Kingston's not in the building tonight, but Eddie has this idea of an old grudge between them that doesn't exist. And then a fan yelled out, "Fight him!" And then Punk said, "Oh, I would fight him, but he's not here, so I'm not gonna." And then he seemed kind of mad at the fan. And the fans kind of, like, it was like an odd silence. Did you notice that when the fan yelled out, "Fight him"? And then Punk's like, "I would, but he's not here." He kind of barked at the fan, like, a little aggressive, a little mean. And I was like, huh? And then the fans were kind of like, they didn't know what to do. And then there was like just like a smattering of full gear chants, right? The crowd was just, a few of the people were like, full gear? Full gear? How about then, CM Punk? What do you think? And he's like, well, full gear's a good idea, but St. Louis is just down the road, and I want to see Eddie Kingston this Friday on Rampage. Super awkward. I thought the Moxley stuff was good, but then when he started going into Eddie Kingston, the crowd made it weird.
Well, it's a tough segue when you think about it. You go from talking about Moxley, a very serious issue,
Yeah.
and then you got to talk about feuding with like his best friend. So that's a tough sell. But I thought he actually did a good job with it because he played off the fans and the way they reacted. So it felt very organic the way it came out. So I didn't mind that whatsoever. It felt real the way that was going down. It may feel awkward, but when you get real like that, it comes out awkward. So it's fine like that. And it's an awkward way the feud started. So it just makes sense that you get something like that. I got no problem with that. I thought it was good. I thought Punk, this is one of the best promos he's cut, actually, in AEW.
Yeah. It was just weird. Like, why was he so angry at that fan who yelled, "Fight him"? Didn't he seem really mad at that? Like, didn't he seem overly angry at that fan? He's supposed to be a babyface. That was the only part where I was like, oh, what happened there? Why? It was like real CM Punk. Like, that was Phil Brooks. Like, oh, fuck you. I hate the fans. You know?
Well, he made mention of the fact that he wanted to get this done and out of the way tonight because he wanted to get that match against Orange Cassidy. He wanted that spot, but because this whole Eddie Kingston thing's in the way.
That was weird, too. It's like, oh, I wanted to wrestle Orange Cassidy tonight and wrestle Bryan Danielson at the pay-per-view, but, you know, and then the fans boo. And he's like, no, don't boo me. Boo Eddie Kingston, because until I get through with him, I can't do anything else. And I was like, really? Why? Because he interrupted you while you were doing a promo on Rampage last week? Like, who gives a shit? It was weird. He's like, I would try and wrestle for the world title. I would try and beat Orange Cassidy tonight and wrestle Bryan fucking Danielson at the pay-per-view. But instead, I have to deal with Eddie Kingston because he interrupted my promo? Weak.
That's rude. I can't do that.
Shit. It's rude. So Punk is just so offended. That's what I think about Punk and his offense. I find him offensive for finding it offensive, all right? Ridiculous. They're going to do a face-to-face. Not even a goddamn match. They're pushing this for the pay-per-view. Honestly, I think AEW should have pivoted and said, all right, fuck it. Let's just do it. Moxley's out. Let's do Punk Orange tonight. Let's do Punk Bryan at the pay-per-view. Winner gets a title shot. That makes sense. Let's do it. That's a pay-per-view match. That makes you tune into Full Gear and say, holy shit. Right now, they're banking on, everybody wants to see Hangman Kenny, and that's going to sell the pay-per-view, which I think for the hardcore AEW fans, it will. But if you want to get more than that, you want to get people that may watch the pay-per-view or may not, they're on the fence. If you tell them Bryan Danielson and CM Punk are going to be on this pay-per-view, you goddamn right they're going to tune in. I don't know. I would have went for it. Why not? You get four pay-per-views a year.
Well, I think the problem may have been is the fact that match overshadows the main event. and you don't want that to happen. You want the main event to be the marquee match. And I think it has like a solid matches, like the card overall. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm more hyped about the Inner Circle match now after tonight, because to me that had so much heat, that segment.
Huh?
You could disagree, I guess, but I thought the crowd was really into that segment. Like, to me, that sold me on the match just for how much the crowd cared about that.
Inner Circle in the ring. Chris Jericho says, hey, it's time to find out who we're wrestling at the pay-per-view. Dan Lambert and his crew of people, the MMA junkies, they show up. They got Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovsky, Mr. and Mrs. Van Zant, and some other guy who apparently is an undefeated fighter in Bellator, but I don't know who he is. He looks like a small
Wow,
Rob.
that says a lot.
Looks like a small Rob Terry. That's what he looks like to me. I call him Mini Rob. Mini Rob Terry. Doesn't he look like a mini,
You don't know
like
who he
Rob
is.
Rob Terry's little brother? Remember Rob Terry? That guy was jacked.
I've met Rob Terry.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he doesn't look at all like Rob Terry.
Yeah, he does, bro. Deal with it. Is Rob Terry still jacked? Man, that guy was
I think
huge.
so. I just don't think
Holy
he wrestles
shit.
anymore, though. I think he did something else now.
Yeah. Guy was amazing. Anyways,
He was a good guy.
all right. Anything else you want to tell us about Rob Terry? Where was he from? He was Welsh or something? British? He was Australian? Something.
I want to say Welsh. Could be wrong. That could be Mason Ryan.
Yeah, Mason
But,
Ryan was Welsh. That guy looked exactly like Batista.
Yes, met him too. And yeah, very much like Batista.
All you body guys hang out? Body guy convention? What's going on?
Well, they book the big guys in Quebec. That's what they do, right? So
That's right. You, Mason, Robbie T. All right. So Dan Lambert is there, and he's like, okay, guys. It's going to be Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky at the pay-per-view against you guys. And then you could choose the other guys that are on the team. And I was like, why do they get the choice?
because they won the match. Because Sammy won the match.
So they get the choice. So they all come out and they're like, choose your opponents. And then Hager's like, Junior Dos Santos, you look like Popeye, which I thought was kind of funny because he kind of does look like Popeye. And then he's like, oh, you're going to get dropped faster than you were dropped in your last fight. And he lost in like 75 seconds or something. And I'm like, Hager, you should be careful what you say to Junior Dos Santos. Like, why don't you fight him?
That'd be a great fight if that could ever happen.
No, it would not be a great fight. Are you kidding me? Do you know who Junior Dos Santos lost to in his last fight? Cyril Gann, who's the heavyweight champion of the world, who's about to beat Francis Ngannou in his next fight. Jake Hager's last fight was against some guy you've never heard of. Junior Dos Santos, that would not be a good fight, John. The fact that Jake Hager was disrespecting Junior Dos Santos tonight and his MMA career, it just didn't work for me because I know what would happen if Junior Dos Santos fought Jake Hager. It would be a one-sided beatdown. Junior Dos Santos would obliterate Jake Hager. Are you kidding me?
But you want to see it, no?
No. Why? It's a joke fight. I want to see Bobby Lashley and Jake Hager. That's closer. Junior Dos Santos and Jake Hager? Hell no. JDS and Arlovsky would both beat the shit out of Hager. Hager's like, 2-0? The guy's completely inexperienced. He's got no striking. He barely fights. Junior Dos Santos would destroy that man. What's the point? I don't want to see that. Give me Hager and Fedor. That seems a little closer. Let's try that.
Not after Fedor's last fight. Oof.
Yeah, Fedor will probably knock him out. But I'm saying he's got a better chance against Fedor than he does against Junior Dos Santos. Super chat, super chat, super chat. Thank you, Harold.
That's a lot of super chat right there.
Harold dropping a super chat, little coffee cup emoji. I like that emoji. Thank you, Harold. Big respect. Harold's a super chat leader of the night so far. Thank you, Harold. Yeah. Anyways, Hager chooses Junior Dos Santos, and then Santana gets on the mic, and he's like, I want to wrestle Arlovsky, and he says something about Pitbull Arlovsky or something. And then Paige Van Zandt gets on the microphone, and she's like, I want in the match. I'm going to beat up Chris Jericho, and it doesn't matter how many Instagram filters you have. It's not going to fix your face after I get through with you. Put me in the match. I want to wrestle on Paige Van Zandt. And then she's like, I can take all 5 of you on at once. And I was like, uh-oh. I mean, when she said that, did she mean to say that? Was that like a line that was given to her so she could look like a dumb heel? Or did she just say that and Jericho, used it? It was a hell of a line. I can take all 5 of you on at once. And Jericho's like, the joke writes itself, Paige. Like, what are you talking about? Come on. Right, yeah? You want to take all 5 of us on at once? I mean, she comes out dressed in a bra and a jacket, you know? And she says, I'll take all 5 of you on at once. It's like, okay, Paige Van Zandt, what are you trying to say here? Of course, her husband's right next to her. He might be like, hey, maybe don't say that on national TV. It doesn't sound so good. But what does he know? He's got one of the biggest neck tattoos.
You gotta give her a lot of respect, though.
That
she
guy's
said
got
that with a straight face.
Massive neck tattoo.
That was pretty
you
good.
see him? His whole neck is a tattoo, that guy. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that stuff. That
Makes
doesn't look that good. But
Cody's neck tattoo look like a fucking pimple. It's nothing compared to that guy. That Austin Vanderford is like, that must have hurt on the fucking thing here. God damn, pal. Guy's tough. He's going to fight Gegard at some point. That guy's legit. Her husband is fucking legit. And he just stands there looking neck tattooed. Like, he doesn't say shit. He just stands there. Paige talks a bit. Anyways, Jericho chose Dan Lambert to be the 5th member of the team. So it'll be Scorpio, Ethan, JDS, Arlovsky in his pro wrestling debut, and Dan Lambert in, I think, his pro wrestling debut against the Inner Circle at Full Gear.
It's not Dan Lambert's debut. He actually wrestled in Impact.
Oh, okay.
Very limited, obviously. You know,
yeah.
I mean, what can't do really that much. But
when he did this gimmick with Bobby Lashley.
Exactly. So this is not the first time. We should have thought of this was going to happen because they don't have a lot of guys. I'm very surprised by Arlovsky, though. Like, isn't he still contracted with the UFC? Like, I'm surprised that he can wrestle in AEW.
Yeah. I think he's still under contract.
Great. It's a good name. It's a big name.
He won October 16th. He beat Carlos Felipe by decision. Like, he's still active. He won his last fight. He's actually won a couple in a row in the UFC, which is impressive.
That's kind of neat that he's wrestling, too, as well. Like, for someone to do that, you don't usually see that. This is very rare to see something like this happen. So, and someone, again, like you said, like, of his status to do this, like, this is a big deal.
It's pretty cool. I'm actually happy to see Andrei Arlovsky get involved. I like seeing that Paige Van Zandt. I like seeing that Paige Van Zandt promo, though. She was good on the mic. She could talk. That promo was solid.
Yeah. I mean, you expect they're going to do something with her. Just obviously, like, she won't be involved in this match. She might be involved, like, running whatever. But in terms of, like, actually wrestling, you got to wonder, like, what they're going to do. I think they're probably planning something, just not with this feud, I guess.
She needs to wrestle. I don't know why she's not training pro wrestling full-time at this point. She just needs to be a wrestler in AEW. I think she'd be fantastic. She's got the look. She can talk. She's athletic. Mm-hmm. And her fighting career is fucking over. Like, somebody needs to tell her. It's over. Like, she had a run in the UFC, started getting beat. It was clear she was out of her depth in the competition. And then she went to bare-knuckle boxing, and she fucking went 0-2 there. If you can't win in bare-knuckle boxing and you're not winning in the UFC anymore, I think she should have gone to Bellator because they probably would have given her some favorable opponents because she's a star, so they would have tried to build her up a bit. Right. But even then, man, I think her fighting career is donezo. I mean, when you start going from... When nobody goes from the UFC to bare-knuckle boxing back to, like, success in MMA. People have gone to bare-knuckle boxing and back to the UFC and done okay, you know, have made won a couple fights or whatever, but you're not going to have another run where you string wins together and you're, in a top 20. I think she's done fighting. I really do. I think she's pretty much done, and pro wrestling is the spot for her. I think she'd be great in wrestling. She's legit. You've never seen anybody that looks like her and is as legit as her in pro wrestling. Never. You know what I mean?
Right. But
she's on Dancing with the Stars. She's famous.
I mean, that's great and everything. It's great that she gets opportunities like this, but difference between like what you think is best and what the athlete wants,
Yeah.
Like if they're still wanting to do something else, it's hard to push them in that direction, even though the door's open that way.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. But I just, I see her in pro wrestling. I see her around pro wrestling, and I think, God damn, she'd be so good at pro wrestling, It's like when CM Punk was in the UFC. I was like, man, you'd be really good in pro wrestling, you're not so good at fighting for real. I think pro wrestling is really the spot for you. I feel the same about Paige Van Zandt. It took CM Punk a while to come back to it, and he had to do what he wanted to do. And, these athletes, they're going to go and they're going to compete because it's what they want to do. But, hey, I think Paige Van Zandt has a great future in pro wrestling. I think it would be brighter than the future that she has in pro fighting currently. Angelo Contagonis dropping a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. Thumbs up back to you, buddy. Thank you. Supporting the network. So Johnny liked that Inner Circle promo. I thought it was okay. It was all right.
Again, great heat. Thought the crowd was really into it.
I don't know why they hate them so much. I guess, I'm just not with that because I like Junior Dos Santos. I like Austin Vanderford, I like Dan Lambert.
I guess it's the whole, because people have seen this before, I guess, with Dan Lambert, right? They're kind of like anti-wrestling in a sense, so that's why. Even though they're kind of actually not really, but that's the whole gimmick, so people really embrace that they're the enemy in a sense.
Yeah, I suppose, Lambert doing a good job of running down AEW, and I guess a lot of the AEW fans aren't necessarily MMA fans and aren't down with the program. Oh, well. I like it. I'm excited to see Andrei Arlovsky wrestle. I'm not so excited to see Junior Dos Santos wrestle because it wasn't that great last time, but hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We say wrestle. It's going to be a street fight. I mean, this is going to be more of a brawl than a wrestling match.
And a 10-man as well, so how much will we really see of him, right?
Well, it's going to be tough, too, because, you got to hide Dan Lambert. So, how much can you hide in this match? I'm sure everyone's going to get their own little spots and sequences. So
yeah. Scorpio and Paige are going to have to do a lot of the work there, though. They're going to have to carry the load for their team for sure. Okay, match of the night. To me, FTR against the Samurai del Sol and Aerostar match. I thought that was incredible. And I have been a longtime fan of Kalisto. I kind of forgot that he was released from the WWE until I saw him as Samurai del Sol tonight. Tremendous. I love this guy. He's always been one of my favorites. He's so goddamn talented in the ring. I don't know why a big company... I know he's wrestling in AAA and everything, and he's around, but he would fit in AEW just fine. So would Aerostar. What a tremendous tag team. I'd never seen Aerostar, really. I've heard of him. I think I may have seen him once or twice, but this was a big spot for him. FTR, they work great with these luchador-type guys. They're so good at it. Their old slogan used to be no flips, just fists. That's because the other guys do the flips so well, and there's such a great base for them. They work so well with these luchadors, be it the Lucha Brothers or the Young Bucks or Samurai del Sol and Aerostar. There's something about FTR wrestling against these flippy tag teams. It's a really good style mix. It works really well, and I love this match. I thought it was fantastic. FTR getting the win, Cash holding the ropes to get the pinfall on Aerostar. Amazing dives and flips and everything from these guys. Great showcase of Samurai del Sol and Aerostar, and I hope we see them again in AEW. I was really happy to see Kalisto in AEW. I thought that guy was grossly underutilized in WWE, and it was nice to see him get a shine here tonight. Great match.
Well, I agree. It was probably the match of the night. I don't think it was a perfect match, but I think the most part, it was probably the best match we saw tonight. And I agree with you. Like Kalisto is very good. It's good to see him being used again. I don't feel like he was underutilized. He had a good run. WWE. He was a US, I believe, a tag team champion as well. Like he had several successful runs in WWE. I feel like he was there for almost like a decade practically. So he did all right for himself. It's just, everyone has their time. His time was up.
He's super good, though, at wrestling, compared to the other guys that wrestle there for how good he is. It was a long time he was doing nothing. Remember, he was with the Lucha House Party, and they were kind of breaking up for some reason. Are those guys still in WWE? Ray Phoenix and Grand Metalik? Those guys were awesome, too.
It's not Ray Phoenix, but yeah.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Was it Kalisto? No, not Kalisto. What the hell is that? Lindsay Dorado. They have similar masks. Similar masks.
They do.
Lindsay and Ray Phoenix. That's why I confuse them.
But, I believe they're still around. But I don't know if they got drafted. That's the whole thing. I think they're still signed, but I don't believe they were drafted
to
Raw or SmackDown. So that's never obviously a good sign. But
I think they're still technically in WWE. Undrafted. Huh. Interesting. I mean, see? That's what I'm saying about grossly underutilized, John. Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado are tremendous wrestlers, right? Mm-hmm. And they're nowhere to be seen. They're not on TV. They went undrafted. Like, that's kind of the treatment that Kalisto got. Like, oh, he's very good. Every time you see him, it's amazing. He can steal the show, and then you just never see him. It's like Ricochet right now in WWE. Like Ricochet's so good, and like when do you see him wrestle? It's very rare. Wrestles on main event mostly, That's what I'm saying. WWE has these guys that are so talented, and we just don't get to see them very often.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you saw the Lucha House Party for a couple of years now. And the problem is the tag team division, it's not very deep. So once in a while, like seeing them, that's kind of a big deal. But once they've wrestled every tag team, which doesn't take too long, what else is there really to do with them? It's kind of tough. And same thing with Ricochet. Like, he wrestles enough guys in the roster, he's not going to really go much further than where he is. What can you really do with him? I think Ricochet needs like a gimmick change or something to change it up, because it just feels like it's the same thing over.
Yeah, but the WWE does bear some responsibility in that whole thing as well. Speaking of underutilized, Johnny Hungy, I thought was not used as much as he should have been in AEW for a long time. Not seeing enough Hungy, but tonight he got an in-ring interview with Tony Schiavone, and it was all right. It was all right. Not as entertaining as the BTE Johnny Hungy skits. This was, fine. He says he's not wrestling Adam Cole on Friday night. He's going to be wrestling Budge, because that's what he calls him, and the crowd liked it. Silver says Cole should just be Dark Order's manager and quit wrestling, and if he would have taken his advice, he wouldn't have eaten that concerto from Christian earlier in the night. So it'll be Johnny Hungy versus Adam Cole on Friday. Fully expect Adam Cole to win, but I like seeing Johnny Hungy get that opportunity of an in-ring promo by himself. Solo Hungy.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. It's just Adam Cole took a concerto, and then he's going to wrestle on Friday. I think that's a little too soon. Like, he shouldn't be cleared to wrestle, but it really seems like you can fall off the stage one week and then be next. So that's AEW, I guess. They're superhuman.
Well, at least it's not one of those Dynamite Rampage double tapings. It's not like Adam Cole takes a concerto, then later that night wrestles Johnny Hungy. At least, they were in Kansas City tonight, and they'll be in St. Louis on Friday. So at least it's a different night, John, but I do understand what you're saying. Adam Cole, Young Bucks, and Brandon Cutler were doing an interview backstage. Christian Cage showed up. Luchasaurus did too. They started brawling into the arena. And then Jungle Boy showed up, did a dive onto everybody. Christian speared Matt Jackson on the stage. Jungle Boy hit a nice Hurricane Rana on Matt Jackson down the ramp. That was kind of cool. Luchasaurus chokeslammed Nick Jackson on Adam Cole's back. And then Christian concertoed Adam Cole. And I didn't hear commentary say concerto. I don't know if they're allowed to say concerto. Johnny Hungy said concerto, but maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. I wonder what the status of the concerto copyright is. Is that a WWE thing, or can AEW or anybody use it? I mean, it was an Edge and Christian thing. It's not an Edge original. I know Edge has kind of become famous for it, but Christian and Edge kind of started it together. So nice to see Christian using it as well. Kind of amazing that it's 2021 and we're still seeing Edge and Christian hit concertos this year, you know? They're still in it. They're still doing it. I love those guys. Yeah, I guess we're continuing along that road with the Luchasaurus and Christian and Jungle Boy against the Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, which I feel like has been done to death. I'm a little surprised we're doing that again. Is that the pay-per-view match? Eeh.
Well, what else is there really when you think about it?
I don't know.
Them against Dark Order has been overdone as well. So at least they gave this couple of weeks off. So this feels a little bit more fresh than at least doing the Dark Order over again. So there's really nothing else at this point. What other like 6-man tag can you do besides that?
I don't have an answer. I don't know.
There you go.
I just don't
This is
give
what
a
it's gonna
shit
be.
to see this. Like, why? It's not great.
Let's give them a spot on the pay-per-view. It's more likely what's going to happen.
I'm just tired of seeing the Young Bucks versus the Lucha House Jurassic Express thing.
Right. I'm not going to deny that. I think it's been overdone and it should be over by now, but sadly not. Like, if anything, like that should be the next thing for the Inner Circle.
The Young Bucks? Again? Back to the
Yeah.
Elite?
Yeah.
Back to the Elite.
Yeah.
I don't know. Feels played out.
I feel with Adam Cole, it feels it's more fresh now. You can do it again. It's different.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we need to see them in 6-man tags. Like, how come Adam Cole's not just a wrestler by himself? And the Young
But I
Bucks
think
in the
for
tag
now,
division, you know?
as long as Kenny's the champion, I think that's the way it's going to stick. So until that changes, I think, yeah, they're just going to be 6-man tag.
Well, it's kind of boring. I'm not a huge fan of what the Bucks and Adam Cole are doing right now. Of course, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. That is one of the hottest angles in professional wrestling. Everybody's got an opinion. I want to see Kenny beat Hangman at the pay-per-view and continue Hangman's journey of chasing the belt. But a lot of people believe that this is Hangman's moment coming up at Full Gear in 10 days. And Hangman did remind Kenny of that. Kenny Omega beating Alan Angels. I just call him 5. He ditched the mask at some point, and now he's got a name, but he's 5 from the Dark Order. Hit 2 V-triggers on him and pinned him. Kenny, after the match, was going to give 5 the one-winged angel on a chair, but Hangman showed up to stop him. And Hangman goes for the buckshot lariat. Kenny ducks, rolls out of the ring, and escapes. Hangman, though, picked up the AEW title belt that Kenny left in the ring and told Kenny, here, take your belt back and hold it tight because you've got 10 days. So Kenny, Hangman, huge reaction for Hangman. He's one of the most over guys in pro wrestling. People love Hangman Page, and why not? What'd you think of the Kenny Allen Angels match? Apparently there was some controversy the last time they wrestled. People were really upset that Kenny gave him too much gave him too much offense in the match, and here maybe he got a lot of offense too. I don't know. It was very inside. I was seeing people tweet about it, and I was like, all right, so some guy was really mad about it the last time, so now they're doing it again. Like, I don't know. The match was fine. Alan Angels is all right. He's got some nice top rope things.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. That people got mad. If anything, that's the match that got Alan Angel signed to AEW. So that was the kind of reason to bring it back, where that's the match that kind of made him in a sense. So I understand the history. I get why you bring it back, and that's kind of big of Kenny to actually give him some over again like that. I mean, being the world champion, Alan Angels isn't exactly a guy you see on television that much. So to give him that much offense, that was actually, very humbling of Kenny to do that. He doesn't have to do that, but he did. It's kind of to put him over in a sense. Like obviously he didn't beat him, but he gave him a lot over. And that's up to him, man. If he wants to do that, by all means do it.
Yeah, why not make him look half decent? He's gonna 5 is gonna lose, but why not make him look all right on the way there? I thought it was fine. I thought it was a decent opening match. And then Hangman showing up. Good stuff there. Malachi Black cut a backstage promo about being barred from ringside for the Cody Rhodes and Andrade match, but he said it didn't matter because, there'll be other guys there to help, and he doesn't need to be there. And then Andrade and Cody Rhodes had the match later in the night, and it was pretty good. Cody doing the Dusty Rhodes shake, rattle, and roll elbow thing. Not something he does very often. Got a big reaction. Andrade put Cody in the figure 4. Of course, Andrade with, engaged a Charlotte Flair, so the figure 4 there. Cody did the dive, and FTR appeared out of nowhere from under the ring. FTR had their AAA tag title belts. They put them up in the air. Cody dove, and he went headfirst right into the belts. FTR rolled right back under the ring. Andrade took Cody, brought him into the ring, hit his DDT, 1, 2, 3, Andrade wins. After the match, FTR and Andrade start beating up on Cody. Arn Anderson jumped into the ring. Tully Blanchard, of course, FTR's manager. Arn and Tully, former members of the Four Horsemen. Arn pushed Tully, and it looked like, maybe Arn's going to get attacked here. And then the Lucha Brothers showed up. Of course, Lucha Brothers are going to wrestle FTR for the AEW Tag Team titles at Full Gear. Lucha Brothers brawled with FTR. Kind of awkward when Ray Phoenix and I think it was Cash were kind of jostling to throw each other out of the ring. Did you notice that? It seemed like neither guy knew who was supposed to go out onto the apron. It was weird. It was not good. Little sloppy stuff there. Cash eventually pulls his partner out of the ring so they can avoid getting beat up.
Twice tonight.
What?
There was 2 slide in interference things, and it was like, what the hell's going on here? They don't know what they're doing. This happened also in the women's match as well, if you notice.
Yeah, we'll get to that match, Jamie Hayter and Anna Jay, but for guys like Ray Phoenix and Cash from the FTR, you'd expect a little bit better.
I feel FTR might get a little bit of a pass because they had a match earlier in the night, so they're a bit tired, possibly. I mean, Lucha Brothers don't get much of a pass because that's all they're doing, so it's kind of rough.
They also just posed in the ring. FTR escaped the ring, and they were just standing outside the ring, and Lucha Brothers just kind of stood there. They didn't go and attack them. They're just like, oh, well, you're outside of the ring. I guess we're done here. It was odd.
It was mainly to stop the beatdown. That was it. It wasn't to beat them down. It was just so they'd stop beating down Cody.
Yeah, but why do they care about Cody all of a sudden?
I guess whatever they do, they care about it, the Lucha Brothers, for whatever reason.
Maybe because of the association with Pac, and Pac helped Cody last week? I'm reaching.
There you go. That makes some sense.
Yep. Hey, we're trying to make sense of this shit because they do not make it easy. So what's Cody's match for the pay-per-view? Rematch with El Idolo? Rematch with Malachi? Is it a tag match for the pay-per-view? That's what we do? Pac and Cody versus El Idolo and Malachi? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
This pay-per-view's not looking that great.
I think it actually looks pretty good, actually, when you think about it, because they have a lot to use in this, right? They got to have a Punk match. They got to have a Bryan Danielson match. They have to have the main event, tag titles, Inner Circle. And you look at it, there's a lot to this pay-per-view. It feels like it's going to be like 10 matches.
Nothing that doesn't feel like an episode of Rampage or Dynamite, though, as far as the booking of the matches. Inner Circle versus American Top Team. We've already done this. We've already done that match. Right?
Well, yeah, not quite. I mean,
Pretty
again,
much.
there's some elements to it.
With Junior
It's a
Dos
little bit
Santos
different.
and shit, but it's basically the same thing. Cody and Pac versus El Idolo and Malachi. We've already done versions of this, and who cares? The singles matches are more important. Miro versus Bryan Danielson. Not as interesting as, Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Punk versus Eddie Kingston. That could be on Rampage. In fact, I thought it was going to be on Rampage, but apparently it's just a face-to-face on Rampage, and they're not going to actually do the match until probably Full Gear. There's a lot of shit on this Full Gear pay-per-view that just doesn't feel pay-per-view quality. If you compare it to some other AEW pay-per-views, it's just there's not a lot of matches that are being built up to a boiling point where you're like, oh my God, we're finally getting this. What are they going to do? The only one that is like that on this card, again, is Kenny versus Hangman. Hangman is on fire. Kenny's been champion for a while. Are they going to switch the belt? Everything else, Britt Baker versus Ty Conti, give me a fucking break. There's no chance in hell Britt loses that match, so who gives a fuck? Inner Circle versus the American Top Team, it's going to be sloppy as hell. A 10-man Minneapolis street fight. It's going to be a mess. Miro versus Bryan. I mean, Bryan's got to win that match. If he loses to Miro at this point, what the fuck? Lucha Brothers against FTR. We've already seen that match. They've already done it on Dynamite. Darby versus MJF is actually the second most important match on this card because they're both two of AEW's hottest young stars, and whoever wins, it's, a big deal to get that win over the other guy. I think Darby and MJF is the second most important match on this whole thing. Eddie Kingston, CM Punk, I think is official for Full Gear now, which who cares? Who cares? I'm telling you, John, this pay-per-view is not like, it's not like every match on the card I'm like, damn, what's this going to be? Punk's going to beat Eddie Kingston. Lucha Brothers FTR, I don't know. Probably Lucha Brothers retain, but, yeah, I don't know. They could lose. I could see that one going either way. Darby and MJF, I could see going either way. Kenny and Hangman, I could see going either way, although I really am starting to think they're just going to give it to Hangman at this point. Bryan's going to beat Miro. Britt's going to beat Conti. Inner Circle against American Top Team. I don't really give a shit. I don't know, man. This pay-per-view is not... I'm not feeling it, It doesn't get me pay-per-view excited. Not like All Out. All Out was incredible. This is like, the anticipation for All Out compared to this, it's not the same.
Well, that's a little unfair. All Out's like their WrestleMania in a sense. And that was like the return of CM Punk to wrestling match. I mean, you can't compare that kind of stuff. Eddie Kingston, this match with Eddie Kingston, for a lot of people, this is like a dream match to see this kind of thing.
Why?
It's not my dream match, not your dream match, but a lot of people think this would be great to see because people think, Eddie Kingston, CM Punk, they go back a long way. It's going to be a great match, good clash of styles. I'm not saying I agree with that, but apparently that's what some people think.
Is there history there?
See on that one. Well, I guess they were in. I don't want to say Ring of Honor, but were they in Combat Zone Wrestling at the same time? Possibly.
I don't know. You would know more than me.
They were in some feds together. I don't know about Ring of Honor, but on the independent scene, I think they were in the same kind of feds. So I don't know if they wrestled each other that much, but maybe they did, and people build off that.
Yeah.
But whatever,
you give Eddie Kingston a shot in hell?
Oh, I definitely do not, but
exactly.
They build Eddie Kingston. Yeah, but they build in AEW, they build Eddie Kingston like he is a main eventer. You saw they give him that match with Miro and they build him up like a strong contender to face Miro right there. And that was a very, very good match. And again, they put him in that world title eliminator. They gave him Bryan Danielson.
Do you think that Miro has a shot to beat Bryan? Just give me a yes or no.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here. Bullshit. You're going to pick him to win?
Yeah, it's up in the air right now. It's 50-50 right now.
Oh, fuck. You think Eddie Kingston has a shot at being Punk?
Nah, Punk's
Okay.
like, they should make Punk the next champion, to be honest.
Oh, they should make Bryan the next champion, to be honest. You think Ty Conti has a shot against Britt Baker? You think Ty's gonna beat the champ, be the new champion? You probably do.
I
You
wish
fucking
he
Ty
did.
Conti, Mark.
No, I don't think she's going to win, but just her getting the opportunity is a step in the right direction. Like, she doesn't usually get pay-per-view matches, so the fact that she's on this stage getting this opportunity, that's big for her career going forward.
She was involved here. Jamie Hayter beating Anna Jay after a clothesline and some interference from Rebel and Britt Baker. Rebel distracting the ref to allow Britt Baker to trip Anna Jay, which then led to Jamie hitting her clothesline to pin Anna Jay. Britt, Rebel, and Jamie attacking Anna after the match. Ty Conti making the save. Tried to make the save, actually, but it was still 3-on-2. She got beat down, and then Thunder Rosa shows up, drop kicks Jamie Hayter. Britt and Rebel bailed from the Thunder Rosa appearance, and it will be Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter in the quarterfinals of the AEW TBS title tournament. Thunder Rosa, to me, is the real threat to Britt Baker, not Ty Conti. And I couldn't care less about that match. Jamie Hayter Anna Jay was it's all right. I don't know. What did you think?
I think Anna Jay's still kind of robotic in the ring a bit, and you can tell the time off. She still like needs a lot to learn. Like I think in terms of like what she should do in the ring, she has an idea, but it just feels, like I said, robotic. It just feels like she goes in a position, she kind of waits for things to happen, and she doesn't really know how to react when things don't happen. She just kind of stands there. And I felt like that happened like 2 or 3 times in the match. And like DDTs, like that DDT, like apparently that was supposed to be a big false finish. Like, you got to do something more with that. It didn't really feel like much of anything. I don't know if it's just the way she's got to show more intensity or something, or put some more oomph on that, DDT bump, but it just felt like there wasn't much to that. It didn't feel like a false finish just by her mannerisms, just by the way she's acting. It doesn't feel like she's in a fight sometimes.
There's something about her when she wrestles. It's just boring. Like, there's no
Well,
emotion.
again, she's very new. Like,
yeah.
she's very new again. Like, and they rushed her way too soon, I think. She should be having more matches on Dark. And this is the problem. Like, you can't expect her to be like a top star, and they treat her like she's a top star, but she's getting pushed way too soon.
She is like a star in the division, but I'm not really sure why at this point. She doesn't cut a promo. She can't really wrestle. Oh, wait. I know why.
Well, she's like the student, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of Cody's students. So, Cody has his people that he pushes. Or, like, I guess, maybe Tony likes the certain students, and that's what they push, so. They like to have their unique talent that they created, right? So
yeah, she's a homegrown
she's one of them.
AEW talent. Yep. So is Jade Cargill, though, and she's also that bitch. So don't fuck with her.
Okay.
Don't fuck with Jade Cargill.
Nice to know.
Jade Cargill is the best. Jade Cargill did a promo, talked about how it doesn't matter if Red Velvet or the Bunny win on Rampage, she's going to beat whoever that is, and she's going to keep on winning because she's the best, and she's going to be the TBS champion, and she's going to change the name of the belt to That Bitch Show. TBS, That Bitch Show. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I just got that.
Right.
Get it? TBS, That Bitch Show. So it'll be Bunny versus Red
Better than
Velvet.
Hose.
Huh?
Didn't you make mention that the title looks like it says Hose on it?
No.
Well, some may mention of that if you look at it closely.
The TBS title?
If you look at the title closely, it says it pretty much.
It says
It's just because the way
hose?
TBS is spelt. You haven't seen it yet, but if you look at it, it's there. And it's hard to unsee it after you look at it like that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, my God. It does look like hose. Hose champion. Oh, my God. Hold on. I'm going to show this to you. This is crazy. You're right.
See, the live reactions like this are priceless.
Oh, that's crazy. Can I get this? Hold on. Here we go. Look at that. I mean, it says TV, but it looks like that's the H. Like the T and the B
Right.
are connected, and they form
Right.
like an H there. So it's like HOS hose. You're the hose champion. I mean, you could kind of see the T, but that doesn't look like a T because it doesn't have like a second line over here. You know, it's missing that. You know what I mean?
Well, because that's the way TBS writes
That's their logo.
so that's why.
Well, their logo looks like it says hose. Hoss.
Now you wouldn't see that at first if you're not looking for hose, but if you're looking for hose, you find it.
You know me, John, always looking for hose. Oh.
I'm glad you got your priorities. You got the priorities straight. It's good.
Of course. That's great. Hose. I didn't even realize that. That's fucking hilarious. Their women's title looks like it says hose champion on it. That's bad. That's not good. If that was a men's title, it'd be one thing, but a women's title, and it looks like it says hose champion. They gotta change that shit quick. That's not good.
Well, belts get different designs, so it'll eventually change, I think.
Hayter versus Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho, and Jade Cargill versus either the Bunny or Red Velvet will be your quarterfinals in this TBS or Hose tournament. Bunny versus Velvet on Friday. I do believe that the Bunny will win. John Silver versus Adam Cole on Friday on Rampage. I do believe Adam Cole will win. And Eddie Kingston versus
even
CM.
the Bunny's gonna win. Wow.
Oh no, did I say Bunny? I meant Red Velvet. Did I say Bunny? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Velvet. No, Velvet and Jade. That's gonna be the match. And Eddie Kingston, CM Punk face to face, like whatever. Adam Cole for sure beats John Silver, but I hope it's a good match. I think it will be. I think John Silver is really good in the ring. He's fun to watch. I'm a big fan, as you can tell. Love me some Johnny Hungy. Love me some MJF as well. MJF was fantastic tonight. Another great promo from MJF. Darby Allin was in the crowd. MJF started talking to him directly, saying that they're the pillars of AEW and that they're better than the other two guys. They're the real stars of AEW, and the company needs them, and they're destined to be legends. And he wonders why the crowd boos him and cheers Darby. He says he's going to win at Full Gear because Darby's going to be too concerned with the crowd, too concerned with battering him instead of beating him. MJF says he's a better wrestler than Darby, and Darby's just a glorified stuntman. MJF says anyone that's even a fraction as good as him on the microphone usually can't hang in the ring, but he's going to prove why he is that much better and that much better than Darby at Full Gear. Good promo from MJF. Darby got on the mic. He says, we're going to have a good old-fashioned wrestling match at Full Gear. I'll keep my emotions in check because I'm going to deal with my anger with you, MJF, right now. And then Darby goes to the ring, and MJF goes to leave, but Sting and a bunch of goons come out and stop him. And then and then Shawn Spears comes out with a chair to, attack the goons. There's a whole melee going on the stage. I don't know what the hell that was. And then the camera was on MJF just kind of standing there not knowing what to do. And it's like, MJF, don't you know Darby is, on his way? And then Darby and MJF brawled eventually around the arena. And then MJF managed to escape through the crowd after taking some punches and stuff from Darby. The promo from MJF was good, but as soon as Darby got on the mic, the whole fucking segment went downhill. What was that with Sean Spears and the Goons and Sting? Like, where did Sting go? What happened?
I think, again, this is just judging from what happened because the camera angles were kind of weird.
You have to guess,
like,
right?
Sting,
Why do you have to guess what happened on a wrestling show? We're both like, okay, we both watched it, and we're both like, I don't really know what happened here because the camera was like on MJF for some reason. Sting was there, and then he wasn't. I don't know. Like, I'm wondering what the hell happened, and you're like trying to guess by piecing together what the fuck they gave you. It's a wrestling show. It shouldn't be that complicated.
well, I think it was just the wrong cuts. They cut to the wrong part, I guess. And by the time they wanted to cut back to what was happening, it was already past. The action had passed, so they just kept it on MJF. I kind of understand in a sense because that's the focal point in a sense. Like, you don't really care about like hired goons so much. Sting and his hired goons. It's not really important. They're there and they're stopping MJF's backup. That's all you need to know, pretty much. That's what I gathered from that whole situation. And you got to care about what's going on with MJF and Darby Allin because that's the important part.
Yeah. But even that was not that great. Like, when MJF and Darby actually got into it, it was like,
I was kind of scared there because they're fighting around a fan in a wheelchair, and I'm like, they better not hit that fan in the wheelchair. That'd be pretty bad.
That wasn't just a wheelchair fan. That was like a fan with a wheelchair, and like he had an oxygen mask and everything. And he was right? Like, he was fully.
He was right there.
He was right there, and they were brawling right next to him. And I'm like, whoa, be careful with that guy. That guy looks like if you tip him the wrong way, it could go really wrong. Like, that guy was in bad shape.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's in a wheelchair.
Yep.
Not just a wheelchair, but a wheelchair with an oxygen mask. That's not good. What's happening with that guy? I hope he's all right. Shout out to that guy. You know, big respect to you, my friend. Hope you feel better. And you know, but shit, I was worried about him. He's sitting right there. I mean, if John Moxley was on the show, he probably would have pushed that wheelchair guy. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he would have done that. But I just worry because, like, when they ran, you just never know what can happen. Like, a leg comes up or something, you're not expecting it, and you never know what can happen in those kind of situations. So it's tough. Like, that's what kind of made that whole scenario. I'm like, oh boy, I hope this doesn't happen. This doesn't go awry. Because things happen in wrestling, you know, like things you don't plan, it happens. So.
But the fact that we're talking about the wheelchair fan more than the brawl shows you that the brawl was just not that good.
Yeah, maybe for the best, though. Maybe for the given the situation, like maybe it was the best. That's what happened. Didn't need to be really that crazy. The craziest it got was just the fact that they were close like that, and that's all it needed to be.
Well, there you have it. AEW Dynamite, another episode in the books. Solid episode of Dynamite tonight. I really liked it. They are moving towards Full Gear very well. They're doing the build well. The shows have been good leading up to the pay-per-view. The 2 Saturday Night Dynamites weren't my favorite, but last week we were back on a Wednesday in Boston. This week they're in Kansas City. I like it. Next week they'll be in Indianapolis. And then they go to Minneapolis next weekend for Full Gear pay-per-view in Minnesota. So I think, Full Gear's got a couple matches I'm looking forward to. That MJF Darby is one of them, and Hangman and Kenny is another. Who do you think wins, MJF or Darby? I kind of feel like MJF. Like, nobody beats MJF.
Yeah, but it's tough, though, too. I mean, they're both coming off pay-per-view losses. It's tough. It really could go either way. Again, That's a 50-50 match right now.
Oh, every match is a 50-50 match, according to you. You think Miro could beat Bryan Danielson? Get the fuck out of here. Are you crazy?
No, I give him the edge, actually, right now.
What?
I slightly give him the edge, yeah.
He was already eliminated from the tournament.
I give Hangman the edge for sure. I definitely think Hangman's almost like a lock, I think, to win.
Yeah.
I want FTR to win, but I don't know if they are going to win. It's kind of rough to win that because you've already beat them for the AAA tag titles. Winning twice is hard, but I think they should.
Yeah. I don't know, though. I don't know about that one. That's a 50-50 one, too, the brothers and the FTR. I know I'm in the minority here, and I love Hangman, and I want to see him become champion, but I feel like it will be greater if we wait longer. Delayed gratification. I think Kenny should win. And I think Bryan should beat Miro, and then I think Bryan should beat Kenny. But I could see Miro winning, and then Miro versus Hangman, I guess, as Hangman's first feud defending the title, but I just don't see it. You never know. But I do think that AEW seems to be leaning towards Hangman. It definitely feels like Hangman's going to win, but maybe that's more reason to have him lose.
Yeah, wait and see. There's still a week left, right? So wait and see. I mean, you get a better idea usually on that last show, so a lot can happen.
Well, we will find out, and we will preview that Full Gear show, I guess, next Friday night while watching Rampage.
Makes sense.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll be back here this Friday night to watch Rampage with you and talk about the Smackdown we watched. We'll see what happens on Smackdown on Friday. They're in Evansville, Indiana.
Nothing announced yet. They usually announce stuff the Friday afternoon, I think. So
yeah, we'll see.
No preview for that yet.
So Smackdown Friday night. We'll be back here after Smackdown, 10 p.m. Eastern Time Friday night, as we are every Friday here on the Ringside Report Network. I'll be back here, though, tomorrow night with AJ and Freddie. We'll be talking UFC 268 coming up on Saturday night. Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. Zhang Wei Li versus Rose Namajunas. Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. Are you kidding me? It's another kick-ass pay-per-view from the UFC. 2 weeks in a row. 267 was fantastic. Khamzat, Islam, Magomed, Glover. What a fucking show the UFC put on Saturday afternoon. And they're going to do another one from Madison Square Garden this coming Saturday night. 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday is when you need to check in here on the Ringside Report Network. 10 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, we'll be doing the UFC 268 watch-along. Back-to-back Saturday night watch-alongs with the Ringside Report boys. And we'll preview UFC 268 tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern here on the Ringside Report Network. We do Ringside Report MMA. And then Johnny and I will be back on Friday night. Angelo Contagonis dropping a super chat with the one. And then Doug Hepburn dropping another super chat saying, thanks again, boys. Great work on the hose belt. Ho! Like Hacksaw. Ho!
Super chat.
It was interesting because Angelo got the lead, but then Doug took the lead right back there with that last one.
Is that right, John? I think Doug had it first, and then Harold took the lead, and then Angelo with a bit, and then Angelo came back. And now Doug, I think, is officially in the lead, although I think technically maybe tied with Angelo. But the tie on the board goes to the last super chatter. So because Doug came in last, he is actually the leader. But if I'm looking at the numbers and my math is correct, which it often is not, Doug and Angelo are tied technically. So we could leave it at that. But I know Angelo sometimes likes to come in and make sure he's like the official leader, because I see on the board, you know. Oh, wait a second. The board just changed. Do you see that? The board just changed. What happened?
Yeah, I just saw it, yeah.
Oh, Angelo. There you go. I knew he was going to do that. He always does that. He's got to be the leader. It was technically a tie, but the tie goes to the last, so now Angelo drops one in. Give me my sound effect. We'll get that sound effect and we'll get the hell out of here before we get another battle going on between Doug and Angelo, and then we'll be here all night. Sometimes they hold me hostage just giving super chats back and forth. They don't let me end the show.
Super chat.
There you go. Thank you, Angelo. Big respect. Hopefully you're doing well, my friend. Hopefully Doug is doing well. Great to see Doug back on the Super Chat. Haven't seen Doug in a couple of days. He stayed awake tonight. Hope everything is good for you out in Kingston, Doug. Hope everything is good for you out in Laval. Angelo, I'll be in Laval in December to go see the WWE. I might be in Laval before then, but I'll definitely be in Laval in December to go see the WWE. So thank you, Angelo. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you, Doug Hepburn, for supporting the network. Thank you to Harold Schneider as well for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Appreciate you guys.
Super chat.
Oh, wait a second. Harold just dropped the Super Chat. Are we doing this thing? Harold just dropped the Super Chat saying keep it up. It's a $5 Super Chat, too, which puts him in the lead. He just took the lead. Right out from Angelo's nose.
Wow.
He just did that. You see how they do that, John? Sometimes they do that. At the end of the show, they start dropping Super Chats. They hold me hostage, and then you can't end the show. Because now I got to give Angelo like a minute or two to kind of come back, because I know he's going to want to come back. But what should I do for you here? You want to see some new toys? I got new toys.
How can you possibly get new toys? Oh, by the way, Angelo's already come back. He's already taken the lead
Oh, okay.
yet again.
Super chat.
What do you mean? How could I possibly? Actually, they're in boxes over there. I can't even. I got a new Rey Mysterio and a Kushida, a Trish Stratus. Got some nice new action figures. I actually traded an MVP. I got an MVP, but I traded it to a guy for Bobby Fish because my son is asking for Bobby Fish and Bobby Fish only. For some reason, he's obsessed with the idea of having a Bobby Fish action figure. He wants to complete the Undisputed Era. He's got Roderick Strong, he's got Adam Cole, he's got Kyle O'Reilly, and now he wants Bobby Fish. I keep trying to tell him, like, hey, Undisputed Era is over, man. Bobby Fish is in AEW, but he doesn't want to hear it. So I got a Bobby Fish yesterday. I traded it for an MVP, so that was good. His Christmas present is done, wrapped up in the books. Got his Bobby Fish. It's beautiful.
That's good to hear. You got Christmas already wrapped up. It's only, the 3rd November? Quick work. While
I'm
you go
good.
through your...
There he is. Old Bob Fish. Look at that. Probably be a while before AEW puts one out, so I figured, yep, let's do it.
If they ever.
If they ever. And yeah, Kyle O'Reilly's going to be a free agent next month. I've been seeing that, so he might be AEW bound. You know what's fun about AEW? Angelo dropping a Super Chat. Angelo is now the Super Chat leader of the night. But I have a couple more things to say because I just thought about Kyle O'Reilly. And I was thinking about Bobby Fish and Adam Cole and how they're both in AEW and then how they haven't been on screen together, haven't been put together, nothing. If this were like Impact Wrestling or WCW or whatever, they just would have been a tag team. You know? But this is AEW. This is its own thing. Adam Cole has his own history with the Bucks and Kenny and all that, and they're going with that. They're not going with, whatever you were doing in NXT, and we're not going to just put you together because you were both in the Undisputed Era, even though it would make sense. They should have a match at some point, though. I think that'd be interesting, right? Cole versus Fish? Do that on TV? That'd be fun.
Well, wait and see, but they're both heels, so I don't know if that really makes sense right now.
No, well, not right now, but, down the road. I just feel like a lot of wrestling companies having both those guys in their company would have done something already with them. But I like that AEW hasn't gone the easy route with those guys, giving them their own kind of thing. So, that's good. And, Kyle O'Reilly, apparently his contract is up real soon. Do you want to see him in AEW? What do you think should happen to him? Stay in WWE? If you're Kyle O'Reilly, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to have his contract expire, then they're probably not going to re-sign him anyways. It makes sense to go to AEW and team with Bobby Fish. I think that's probably better for him to have that tag team. That'd be a great tag team to add to the tag division, I think.
You would put them as a team in AEW? Why?
I mean, they were the NXT tag team champions, so
Yeah.
it's good
I
to
don't
have
know.
that kind of team around, I think.
I like Bobby Fish as his own thing right now, but yeah, I guess you could put O'Reilly and Fish together if you wanted to. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to Mike Speedball Bailey. Congratulations to Mike Bailey. He got signed with Impact Wrestling, so that's cool, right? Good wrestler. Have you ever wrestled him? I feel like you must have, no?
I think a couple of times, yeah. And like the cool thing that not only did he get signed, but that means like he gets like a work visa because of that as well.
Yeah, massive.
That's huge.
Yeah, that was an issue for him. He was kind of banned from the States for a while. Probably one of the reasons why he didn't get signed earlier. He had some issues crossing the border, but man, what a talented wrestler. I remember the first time I saw him, he was in a karate gi or he's like a taekwondo guy, right? He was in like a taekwondo outfit and he was wrestling barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do that
He still
anymore.
wrestles barefoot.
I thought I saw him in boots.
I mean, it depends, but he still does do the barefoot sometimes.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's super talented, man. I was like really impressed with him when I saw him the first time. I was like, wow, this guy's really good. Who is this guy? And then, of course, over the years, we've heard like so much about him. He's been traveling around the world and doing really well. And yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see a Montreal guy sign with Impact and get to the next level of pro wrestling. Right? It's nice to see.
Yeah, he worked really hard for it. I mean, again, to work through all those adversities. Because of getting banned for 5 years, that kind of stopped him. But it also pushed him, in a sense, to go further because he went out and did other things instead. Traveling to Europe, wrestling Japan, and now finally getting signed by Impact. So it was a long journey, but, it finally ended up working out.
Yeah. And you knew it was a matter of time with him, right? There was a lot of buzz, and he's just so good. And he's a nice guy, Matter of time.
Well, you're just worried that, how long, how long was it going to take?
Yeah.
Because you felt like it should have happened sooner, right? But
I really thought AEW was going to sign him at some point. And I also heard that he had signed with NXT, too. Like, there were rumors that he was already going, and then when he signed with Impact, I was like, oh, cool. Nice. Really nice.
Well,
really
again,
nice. Sorry, yeah?
The work visa thing might be kind of a difficult thing for some people, I think. So that might have been a hard point for people to sign him. So, But Impact took the chance, which is good.
Well, I'm happy, and it gives me a reason to tune into Impact. I'll definitely be tuning in to watch Mike Bailey's stuff at least because he's super talented, and I'm happy to see him go there and wrestle a whole new crop of people. So that'll be cool. Good for him. Happy to see it. Congratulations to the Speedball, Mike Bailey. And congratulations to Angelo Contagonis. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you to Harold Schneider. Thank you to Doug Hepburn. You guys are the lifeblood of the Ringside Report Network and keep us going each and every night. And, yeah, I'll be here every night from now until Saturday. So tonight, tomorrow for Ringside Report MMA at 8, Friday night after Smackdown with Johnny, and then Saturday night, 10 p.m. for the UFC 268 pay-per-view watch-along. Busy week for us right here on the Ringside Report Network. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. Join. If you haven't joined the channel already, click that join button beneath me or go to join.ringsidereport.net. Become part of the team. Subscribe for just $5 a month and support the Ringside Report Network. You could also go to merch.ringsidereport.net and you could go to ringsidereport.net/shop. Johnny, thank you. I'll see you Friday.
Later.